Hey everyone, this is Yoon, the founder of Lush, here with another AMA for the July 4th weekend. Happy July 4th to the Americans out there. As always, I'm going to start with, a recap of the progress that we made in the past 1 or 2 quarters, and then transition to, an outlook for the next 1 or 2 quarters, and then end it off with, a list of questions that I've compiled from our community inside of Telegram and Discord. So to start things off, we'll begin with the progress, right? So it's been a very busy 1 or 2 quarters for us. We've, hit certain milestones. We've faced some obstacles, etc. But, the first couple of things that, are the most obvious or the most visual is that, our website has undergone a modernization when it comes to the UI upgrade. You can check it out at lushamai.net and check out our new roadmap, our product offerings, our ecosystem, etc. Right? And in addition to that as well, as more and more advanced generative AI models have come out when it comes to image and video generation, we've took some time to implement that into our flagship product, which is our agents product at agents.lushamai.net. Several people, from time to time ask us about our content generation capabilities, and they are directly embedded into the Lush Agents product at agents.lushamai.net. And all you need is basically a single headshot of any person that you want to generate, and then our system works under the hood to get the prompt right to achieve the most hyper realistic image and video generation that I believe is possible out there, right? So whether you are a beginner or advanced AI generation artist, you're more than happy to utilize our website to generate what I believe is the most hyper realistic content that you'll be able to generate out there, right? And this is, video. I'm talking about videos and images alike that, you probably see nowadays on Instagram and Twitter, and you can't even tell if they're, AI or human based, right? And that's kind of where the technology is at nowadays. And I'm happy to say that, those tools are, directly embedded into our products. And as more and more developed, as more and more advanced generative AI tooling comes out, you can better be sure, you can pretty much bet on the fact that we'll always be, at the top of the game, right? We'll always, integrate the most advanced models and go from there. So on the website, that was on the website side, right? When it comes to AI generation and our homepage. And the other big product release was Let's Match at the, I believe, around the end of Q1, so about like April or March. Let's Match is a agentic AI based dating system or dating platform that's directly embedded into Instagram, right? And so you can basically get, for those of you who don't know what Let's Match is, you can basically get your own AI agent to essentially control your social media account, specifically on Instagram for now, to basically, source leads, filter them based on your dating requirements, and conduct outreach, all on your behalf based on autopilot, right? And so we believe that, this is the next evolution of online dating, because as I specifically kind of mentioned a couple times in the past, we believe that swiping based dating platforms are on the way out. And the new kind of future of online dating is, dating that's actually directly embedded in social media. And not just that, but AI, automated by AI, right? And so that was our big kind of product release um, towards the end of March, I believe. And I'll discuss that later. And the kind of metrics that we're seeing, the plans for that as we go into the next kind of couple of quarters. But just to continue on the progress recap for now, I would say one of the most important kind of progressions that we made, even above the launch of Let's Match, is the kind of significant ramp up in our AI agents deployments across social media, right? And in tandem with that, the significant ramp up in our kind of hardware infrastructure, right? And so, for instance, at the approximately around January, we were hovering about 4 to 5 thousand AI agents deployed across social media, including Instagram and Twitter specifically. And at the end of Q2, at the end of June, that number was up to 20,000, right? And so, as I discussed in our outlook later, our goal is to basically double our AI agent capacity and double our AI agent deployments quarter over quarter, right? So 10K by end of Q1, 20K by end of Q2, 40K ideally by the end of Q3, and from there onwards, right? And so the scaling process, isn't as smooth. It's not like, yo, I one day, I deploy 5,000, the next day I can deploy 10,000, right? There are scaling li- how to scaling kind of like constraints that you need to solve, not just from the hardware side, but as well as the software side as well, right? Because if you have 20,000, 50,000, whatever, accounts running across social media, you're inevitably going to come across, platform restrictions, account bans, etc. So it's a constant kind of cat and mouse game that involves A/B testing to be able to scale to this level and beyond, right? And so as it stands right now, we're about 20,000 accounts, and our goal, like I said, is to get to 40,000 accounts, right, by the end of Q3. And so with that on the revenue side, I believe our burn rate at its peak was about $35,000 a month, right? And so I'm happy to say that with the exponential ramp up in our deployed agents and as well as cost optimizations on the operating side, our monthly burn rate at the end of June was down to approximately only $10,000 a month, right? And our treasury is about 250K to 300K right now. So we got, we're fairly comfortable in terms of our runway, right? And so I think it's been a grind so far to get our burn rate down from 35K at its peak to about 10K at the end of June. And hopefully we get to that point where we can just exponentially ramp up our revenue and our profits, right? We're still, as I'll discuss later in the Outlook section, still kind of tinkering with some, hardware and software issues. But hopefully we hit that kind of exponential kind of liftoff fairly soon in the next 1 or 2 months. And our goal is to get to, break even, cash flow positive in the next 1 or 2 months, which is, coming up very, very soon, right? And so thanks to everyone for that's been with us since, the early days, almost a little bit more than 2 years ago. And we've made strides so far, and hopefully soon we will finally hit that point where we're cash flow positive, and from there it's hopefully clear skies, right? And so that was the progress updates or progress recap for the previous kind of 1 or 2 quarters, right? Just sum it up. A modernization of and a UI upgrade of our homepage, as well as a UI upgrade of our other products, right? Such as the agents platform, as well as Let's Match. Advanced integration of advanced content generation capabilities, including image and video, the launch of Let's Match towards the end of Q1, and then the significant kind of ramp up in our AI agent deployments across social media, specifically Instagram and Twitter, right? And all of that has contributed to a cost reduction or a burn rate reduction of down to less than kind of 10K a month, right? So we're making good strides on that. And now I'm going to transition into, the outlook for the next kind of couple quarters, right? And so our main focus for the next quarter or so is the continued ramp up deployments of our AI agents. And in tandem with that, the hardware deployments, etc., right? Because at the end of the day, our thesis from day one has always been that in the age of AI, right, the edge or the moat will be distribution, right? And these AI agents across social media is a product or is our solution to the problem of distribution in the age of AI, right? When everyone can, vibe code products and AI and software products specifically and digital goods, right? What is the edge? It's the edge or the moat is the ability to capture attention when, the internet is flooded with AI content, AI products, and to be able to monetize that attention, right? This is why whether it's OF, OnlyFans, Let's Match, or crypto marketing, it's the core problem at the end of the day is how do we capture attention and convert that attention into revenue and profits, right? And so the number one priority is the continued ramp up of our AI agents and the optimizations that come with that in order to basically drive revenue and profits to whatever product that we want to promote, whether it be an OnlyFans kind of page or Let's Match or a crypto project, etc. Right. And so with that said, a couple of people have asked about the progress and the conversion, the metrics when it comes to Let's Match, right? But to be honest, our main focus in the last quarter or so has been strictly focused on optimizing the funnel that converts into our OnlyFans pages, right? And so the reason is very simple, right? If you try to do too many things all at once, then you become like a how did it say it? Like a jack of all trades, master of none, right? What we wanted to do was to basically spend the time to optimize the OF funnel as much as we can, and I'll give you an example of what that means, right? And so through optimizations such as visually, improving our OnlyFans model's appearance, improving the targeting algorithm to be able to source more kind of leads, whether it be geographic targeting, recent activity targeting specifically, etc., as well as improvements in the chatting script. We've, increased the conversion rate of the OF OnlyFans funnel by a factor of 2.5x, right? And that is a significant difference when it comes to net profits and net revenue, right? Because our operating costs are fixed, right? And so if you can 2.5x the conversion rate, that's a 2.5x pure like conversion into profits, right? And so this is how we basically reduced our burn rate all the way down from 20, 30K to 10K at the end of this month or at the end of June, right? And so the goal for next quarter is to be able to, like I said, scale up the number of agent deployments from 20K to 40K, right? And then maybe a quarter after that, double that again to 80K, right? And the reason why I'm not really worried about whether we're driving traffic to OnlyFans or Let's Match is that because the problem with traffic is the same regardless of the underlying product, right? You have to source leads that are your target customers, be able to capture the attention of those target customers, and then funnel them to your sales page, right? That is the same process, regardless of whether it's a dating platform, OnlyFans page, a crypto project, etc., right? And so our plan for the next quarter is to basically optimize, basically get the OF funnel to as basically finalized as possible. And from there, it's actually very easy to start driving traffic to Let's Match, right? And the reason is that basically people buy from other people, right? And so the best way to actually drive traffic to OnlyFans and Let's Match is to actually use the same AI influencer persona, right? So instead of this girl, let's say this model that we have currently has a link in her bio that funnels to her, website, right? From her personal website, that website then funnels to OF, right? In order to start driving traffic to Let's Match, it's actually very easy, right? You just create this AI persona of a girl or a model that not only has an OF page, but is a marketing ambassador or a marketing product manager at Let's Match, right? And then you simply just add the link to her personal page, right? And so it's literally like an overnight thing that we can just switch on the traffic to Let's Match. And this is why I always mention that, like, if you solve the traffic problem from OF, then you solve the traffic problem for basically every single other digital good, right? Whether it be, dating platform, a crypto project, right? Because it's all the same problem, right? It's all the same process. And so that is our main kind of focus for the Q3 of 2026, right? Basically honing and perfecting the OF funnel, and then basically expanding that funnel so that we can simultaneously drive traffic to not just OF, but also Let's Match from using the same AI model, right? Because let's say the conversion rate of OF is only like 2 or 3%, which is the industry norm, right? Out of 100 people that visit our page or get a notification from this model, only 2 or 3% of people convert to paid subs on OF, right? But if you are able to simultaneously use the same AI influencer to drive traffic to OF and Let's Match, that's a potential another 2 to 3x multiple on top of the conversion rate that's already happening on OF, right? Because some people may not want to pay for OF content, but they may be the target audience for an AI agent-based dating platform, right? Maybe they want to get a girlfriend instead of paying for content, right? Because the target market for a dating platform and for OF is actually very similar, right? So I think the approach that we take in the last couple quarters is to basically focus on one thing, right? Focus on one funnel, the OF funnel, and we're happy to say that we made significant strides there, right? When it comes to 2.5x improvement in the conversion rate, right? As well as the exponential increase overall into sheer volume of AI agents that we're deploying, right? Next quarter, it's just taking that into hyperdrive and then also expanding that funnel so that the same influencers can basically start driving traffic to Let's Match as well. And by that point, right now we have, some traffic trickling in to Let's Match. But I think when we turn on that funnel, and it can happen at any moment that we choose, I think we will get much better conversion numbers, data, so to basically analyze the conversion rates and the true demand for the product, right? And so that's kind of the main outlook for Q2 and Q3. And just to emphasize, by the way, as I mentioned before, right, the process of scaling up is, not a smooth ride, right? So like it's, along the way, you inevitably come across, suspension waves, right? Like maybe like 10 to 20% of your accounts get knocked out. Maybe like, maybe these platforms like Instagram and Twitter release a new update to detect for automation. And so it's a constant, like I said, cat and mouse game where you really have to adapt. And the only way to adapt is to basically take a scientific method and conduct A/B testing, right, across different, experimental groups. So you can isolate, variables, and it could be variables such as, the cleanliness of like a proxy, right? Or it could be, behavioral, mechanics of these accounts, whether they're following too many people a day, whether they're sending too many messages a day, etc. But I think the ultimate end game that we're seeing is even though a platform like Twitter, you can still basically get away with a lot of actions and a lot of automation on desktop. The I believe the end game is always mobile, right? And so that's kind of the end game that we're building towards, and that's kind of basically the premises of the Lush network, right? Which is what I'll discuss later. And so yeah, like this the process to scale from 5K to 20K accounts hasn't been a smooth ride so far, but I think that's just the nature of the game, right? If you're building like an automation network, you're always going to, battle against, these kind of like automation detection systems, right? And so we anticipate the process from 20 to 40K will be the same. And it's just whether you have like the capacity to uh, be able to intelligently conduct these A/B testing, to be able to, like basically it's like natural selection, right? So like I think automation will never go away, but I think the bar uh, of good automation, whether it be purely robotic automation or AI agent-based automation, uh, increases every year, right? Like automation. will always be here, but like as these platforms get smarter, you inevitably also have to be smarter, right? You have to like, incorporate more human-like elements into, the automation system. You have to incorporate more randomization, etc., right? And so that is basically a summary of our outlook, right? And so, like I said, the two main focuses are the continued exponential ramp up of our AI agent deployments quarter over quarter. Our goal is to double, right? And basically and the secondary goal, in tandem with that, is to basically optimize and finalize our OF traffic funnel so that we can have it as with the highest conversion rates as possible. And finally, once that's done, expand the funnel to start driving traffic to Let's Match, right? Our dating platform, our AI agent dating platform, as well as other platform or other products that we may develop ourselves or external use cases, such as again, this goes back to what I was saying earlier, right? Traffic generation is a problem that every business faces, every digital business faces, specifically in the age of AI, right? So we've seen demand, actually, we've seen interest from not just people who sell products or OF agencies, but also just people like streamers, right? Because what do streamers also need, right? They need attention and eyeballs uh, on their streams, right? And so it's just like you can apply this AI agent technology to help a AI to help like a Twitch streamer or a game streamer drive traffic to their streams, right? So I think those are all avenues that we like to explore, but at the same time, you really want to take a very focused kind of approach to building any business, right? Because if you expand your kind of like attention and your awareness too thin, it's like you can't really fight a war if you're fighting a war on all fronts, right? And this is the reason why we focus specifically so much on the OF optimizations, OnlyFans optimizations, in the past quarter, right? But the future I think is bright, right? Because I think, like I said, you can apply this technology to all sorts of products and services because the underlying fundamental problem is how do I drive traffic and attention to my product or service in the age of AI, right? And so that was the outlook section. And now I am going to go into the question section. I've in the past week or so, I've asked our community in Telegram, Discord to write out their questions, and I'm basically compiled the ones that I thought were most relevant or the most important. I've also answered probably a bunch of them just by going through the recap and the outlook. But I'm going to go through these questions one by one. And here we go. So I think one of them, this was from Jeremy in Discord. He mentioned like a dip in revenue during late May. What's the revenue numbers looking like so far? I believe so. A couple of people have asked about Dune reporting, and we're like on the free Dune plan because like the next tier up is like you have to pay like a couple $100 just to have like API request update in real time. We don't necessarily like need that. And so our Dune reporting may be a bit delayed. It may kind of update the charts on Dune maybe one or two times a month. So that's probably why you saw a dip in the revenue metrics on Dune. But just to like just personally, just from like real time reporting, June was actually our best month. It was June was near or at all time highs in terms of revenue, right? And so that will just update in the chart once Dune decides to update, right? Because our revenue sources come from different kind of multiple sources, right? So we have like our content generation tooling, we have our agents platform, we have our OnlyFans pages, we have Let's Match, etc. So it takes time for Dune to compile all these different kind of like sources into like a single chart, right? So don't worry about Dune. You can hover over the chart if you want to see what the latest day is when it comes to what's been reported. But yeah, just to recap, June has been near or at all-time highs in terms of our revenue. When it comes to Let's Match metrics, like I mentioned in our as I discussed in the Outlook section in our recap session, we just simply don't have enough data yet because our primary focus right up to this point has actually not been driving traffic to Let's Match. It's actually been, like I said, optimizing the OF funnel, and that's how we got our burn rate down to about 10K. In the next quarter or so, we plan to shift provided that the scaling process is fairly smooth when it comes to our AI agents. At that point we can then shift our attention, expand our attention to driving traffic to Let's Match. And the process to do that is actually fairly simple, right? You just add these AI influencers already have like a personal page where they funnel as like a intermediate middle step towards funneling traffic to OF, right? And if you want to funnel traffic to Let's Match, it's as basic as changing their persona so that these AI influencers work for Let's Match as like a product ambassador, right? And then you just add the Let's Match link on their personal website, and that's how you begin driving traffic to Let's Match, right? So we got a couple questions regarding, what do I mean by like the hardware infrastructure and the hardware infrastructure upgrades, right? And so I'll kind of cover that fairly in depth, right? And so based on what we've seen and just based on like I guess common sense, right? Like common sense in that like these social media platforms in general want people or expect people to be using their websites or using their service on a mobile app, right? And so automation detection is significantly less on mobile than it is on desktop. That's also due to the fact that mobile automation is much more complex to develop, right? And so mobile is obviously safer when it comes to automation detection, right? And that is the end game that I see as well, right? I see kind of like distributed, data centers full of just mobile devices. But the trade-off right now is that like mobile is safer, but the trade-off is it's less scalable, right? Because you have to literally go out and buy phones, right? You have to like have these phones, plug them into the internet, have these physical phones like compiled in boxes, put them in a server. Whereas if you just want to scale on desktop, you just like rent out a server in the cloud, right? So the trade-off is scalability. So desktop has its advantages, right? That's why we still deploy accounts on desktop, and the plan is to, like I said, scale slowly over time, transition from desktop to mobile. And so how our kind of hardware infrastructure works right now is that we have basically like a small kind of internal like data center. It's a centralized data center where we have like server machines, right, that do scraping analysis, running these AI agents. But we also have cloud servers deployed across the US, Europe. So it's fairly distributed. Our cloud service is fairly distributed across different providers in different countries. And then we have like our own kind of internal kind of mobile farm right now, right? They again, keep in mind our internal kind of server farms, whether it be whether it be kind of mobile or desktop based, are relatively small, right? They're maybe like 5 to 10 servers, 50, 100 phones, etc. It's like proof of concept right now. Our cloud servers, again, are much larger in terms of operating size, simply because it's just scalable, right? Because you can like go to a cloud server provider and turn on like even like AWS, right? You can turn on a server within a matter of minutes, right? And so that's kind of how our system is set up right now. But I'll go into how I envision a decentralized kind of hardware infrastructure to be to kind of in my vision what it looks like later, and that is kind of the Lush network, right? And so someone mentioned, what are the important kind of KPIs, right? Key performance indicators or key performance metrics. And so, as I discussed in our Outlook section, the first primary KPI is just the sheer volume, right? The sheer number of AI agents that we deploy and are currently active quarter over quarter. And our growth metric or a growth kind of target is a doubling every quarter, right? And right now we're at about 20,000 at the end of June. The goal is to get to 40,000 by the end of Q3, right? And along the way, as I said, the scaling journey is not smooth, right? But we believe if you're, if you're quick to adapt, um, I think it's doable, right? And so key performance metrics also is just the conversion rate, right? Specifically when it comes to OnlyFans, right? For example, right now we doubled our conversion rate from like 6 to let's say 13 to 15% due to optimizations in our sales funnel for OF, right? And that's kind of those are the key performance indicators that we look for, and we're going to apply the same concept to Let's Match, right? And so it's like how many people click on the link, right? Out of the people who click on the link, how many create an account, right? Out of the people who create an account, how many sign up for like the monthly subscription rate, right? And those are the key KPIs that we look for. Um, so the another kind of the as oh so someone asked about what are the goals in the the for the next kind of couple quarters. And we're going to update the roadmap on our landing page soon to show Q3 and Q4. But I think, like I said, in addition, just scaling up the AI agent deployment, our goal is to just like from a purely profit and revenue side, we want to get to our currently burn rate is about 10K, right? Which is fairly comfortable, provided that our treasury is about 250 to 300K right now. But we really want to get to that break-even point in the next 1 or 2 months as we continue to get to scale, right? Someone also mentioned scaling, staking. Staking is a bit further out and would be involved in the rollout of the Lush network, which I'll describe in a second. Uh, the primary means of value accrual will be buybacks, which will be done on chain. Will primarily be done on chain, right? But obviously, we're not going to just telegraph the buybacks, right? Or they're just going to get front run, right? They're just going to come from anonymous wallets. And keep in mind, right, the buybacks, even when we get to cash flow positive, it will need time to scale up, right? Like, even though we get even, let's say, assuming we're at break even or cash flow positive and the protocol itself is profitable, right? It obviously still is not an intelligent move to basically like allocate all of our net profits just buying back our token, right? Because we still have to build like a buffer in our treasury, and to like improve our financial situation, right? So like how I envision it would be like a certain percentage of profits um, will be allocated to buying back the token, and that percentage can increase as our treasury becomes more and more healthy, right? Let's say our treasury is like 250K, 300K. I'm just using hypothetical numbers. Maybe at that point, 10 to 20% of our profits will be allocated to buybacks. But once our treasury grows above 500,000 to 1 million, etc., then that 10 to 20% can increase to 30%, 40%, 50%, etc., right? And so you really want to balance, maintaining a healthy financial situation, in addition to buying back the token, right? Because like if the protocol goes bust and the token's worth nothing anyways, right? So you don't like want to blow all your load on just simply buying back the token. No intelligent, business does that, right? Even like the biggest like protocols, even the biggest companies in the world, like allocate, 10, 20, 30% or whatever to buybacks, right? Um, so that's kind of the idea on the value accrual mechanism. And that, like I said, we're pushing really hard to get the break even the next 1 or 2 months. And a lot of that is in our control when it comes to just sheer scaling, but some of it is out of our control, right? Let's say, IG or Twitter pushed out an advanced, detection system for automation. Obviously, we're going to need some time to adapt to that, and so like we're like I said, but nonetheless, we're going to do our best to get to that point, right? What are the biggest lessons learned from the first half of 2026 in terms of AI performance, infrastructure, and go-to-market? I think the biggest performance, or the biggest lessons, is that the process of scaling, like I said, is a constant cat and mouse game, and you always need to basically be on the lookout for and be able to adapt to changes in the platform, the market, technologically, right? Like you have to be able to like constantly be able to take a scientific approach to this and be able to conduct multiple A/B testing, side by side, in order to optimize the system when it comes to improving the conversion rates, improving, the revenue, avoiding automation detection, etc. And that's only possible if you take a very kind of scientific approach and a data oriented approach, right? Because like we've gotten to a point where, yeah, like overnight we can deploy like 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 accounts, right? But I think it's like you have to like, you can't grow too fast in a sense, because if you don't have proper data analysis and a proper scientific approach. Let's say you overnight I deployed 20,000 AI agents, right? If they get banned in 1 or 2 days, I have no idea what caused the ban, right? It could be, too many of them are sharing the same, name, sharing the same link in bio, using the same proxy. Too many of these accounts are behaving the same. You just have no idea, right? And so basically, like you basically gotten too aggressive when it comes to growth, and now you basically just like you've taken 2 steps back, you've taken 2 steps forward, but now you have to take 2 steps back, and now you're basically like back to square like one, right? So what's a more intelligent approach is to basically like control this growth, right? So, and collect data along the way so that if something goes wrong, now you have at least somewhat of an idea of what variables you need to basically isolate and test in order to get to the next level, right? So instead of 2 steps forward and 2 steps back, now your growth trajectory is like 2 steps forward and 1 step back, right? And so at least you're making progress, right? And so, yeah, like along the way, we've encountered suspension waves, uh, you know, maybe shadow bands, you know, reductions in conversion rate. But like because we take a scientific approach to this, so far we've been able to address every problem because we're able to isolate independent variables that basically like are actually the root cause of whatever problem that we're facing, right? When it comes to growth. Someone also asked about pricing. So our current pricing is $19 per agent, right? Specifically when it comes to Let's Match and our agents platform. We're happy to say that due to significant kind of strides in our engineering efforts, we've significantly lowered the cost of operation of these AI agents. I'm not going to like disclose a specific number because that's kind of proprietary to us. But I think we are basically we're comfortable basically, and we plan to basically lower the cost of operation of deploying these AI agents, whether it be for third-party users of our agents platform, as well as Let's Match, to sub $10, right, on a monthly basis. And even at that level, we're able to comfortably have a very comfortable, profit margin, right? But during the last quarter or so, we actually haven't been focused on selling our product or service, the agents platform, to external users, because we've just been aggressively focused on growing our own kind of internal usage, right? Because think about it, if you like before you even try to sell its product or service to external users, you better make sure that it's suited for your own needs, right? Because like if you can't find value um, in using your own product and service, then there's no reason to sell this to external users or external businesses, right? And so we've actually like stopped for the past quarter or so, even selling this to external agencies and external businesses, simply due to the fact that we've just been aggressively focused on scaling up our own kind of system, right? Because think about it, like there's let's say some external business wants to deploy 10 accounts or 20 accounts or 50 accounts, right? That's like $200, like whatever, in revenue, right, per month. That's like at some point you have to like come to the point where that's not even worth our time to try to capture our attention, because like deploying an extra 1,000 agents ourselves can net us like $2,000, $3,000 a month, right? And we would much rather do that internally, because we like it's more efficient to basically solve our own problems as opposed to like dealing with the complaints of external users, right? But as our system becomes more smooth and more automated, then we can certainly open up our product to external users, right? And as a part of that, as a part of the process of improving our product, uh, significant strides have been made in just reducing the operating cost of running these AI agents, right? And so once we open up our product and service to external users, we expect to lower our price from the $19 price point to sub $10, right? And for agencies that are really at scale, we could probably even get that down to like $5, $6, $7 per account, right? So first and foremost is always kind of like building the product for your own use case so that you can actually benefit yourself, right? Because first and foremost, if you can't find value in your own product, then no one else will, right? And so that's kind of also kind of our thesis in the past kind of couple quarters. That's how we've scaled to aggressively from 4 to 5K accounts at the end of January to about 20,000 at the end of June, right? Just focusing our own kind of internal growth. And from there, we can expand, right, in the next kind of couple quarters to servicing external businesses, external products, third-party products, as well as our own kind of internal products, such as Let's Match, right? And so with that said, this AMA has gone on for about, 40, 45 minutes at this point, so I don't want to take up too much of everyone's time. But yeah, hopefully you guys, whether you've been around since our early days or whether you're new to the community, hopefully you've found value in this AMA and, the progress that we made in the past couple quarters, as well as our outlook for the next couple quarters. And hopefully the process to scale to the next level is relatively smooth because it won't be completely smooth. But I think we're up for the challenge and we're excited to see where it goes. So thank you guys for tuning into this AMA. It will be recorded and then uploaded to YouTube and then linked on all our groups. So take a listen when you can. There's a lot of alpha discussed here. So take care, guys.